Hey there, friends. Hey everyone, no matter where you are in the world. How are you doing now, tonight, or earlier? Near-death experiences, NDEs, are one of my favorite subjects, and I'd like to talk about them today. I also want to talk about some lessons we can learn from near-death experiences, NDEs, and why this is such a hot topic right now. I have a message at the end of the movie that I think everyone needs to hear. This piece is going to be about the unique things about NDEs. People often say bad things about near-death experiences, NDEs, like how unique they are. If you focus on their differences, it's clear that you can't help but be suspicious of them. This being said, they do share a lot of ground. The light tunnel, seeing a light, and being in the dark when all of a sudden a light comes on are some of the most basic ones. What makes them different when you compare them? The culture is a role. People from different cultures can have different kinds of visions. For example, some people may see Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, Muhammad, or another religious person. Experiences are shaped by how someone was raised, no matter if they believe in that God or not. Even though these things are different between cultures, most people either see a light at the end of the tunnel or are in a similar position. People who have died may meet strange beings that look like old friends if they don't see a loved one who has died. Along with that, there is an overwhelming love that knows no limits and a common sense of coming home. One example of the exception that shows the rule is someone who has a very scary near-death experience, NDE, and doesn't feel any of these things. In a moment, I'll talk about why I think that happens. Another thing that everyone agrees on is that it felt more real than real life. Many people decide that this life is all there is to it after having a near-death experience. Some people also say they had a review of their lives, heightened awareness, and the power to see everything at once. There are some exceptions, but these are the rules for the most part. Another good question is why near-death experiences, NDEs, are such a hot topic right now. There are a few things to think about. The first thing is that people are much more accepting and open to new thoughts and points of view these days. In the past, telling someone about a near-death experience was the worst thing that could happen. 20 or 30 years ago, people already thought it was strange or out there. In the past, many people didn't tell their stories because they were afraid of being laughed at. Before they were sent to mental hospitals, some patients told their doctors about what they had been through. These doctors thought the patients were crazy because they were remembering so much about the operating room and what the nurses were saying, so they asked to be checked out mentally. And because of this, it's not unusual for people to say they saw loved ones in waiting rooms or even kilometers away during near-death experiences, NDEs. It's possible that this is happening because people are finally starting to understand who they are. That's how it's going. There have been more near-death experiences since people woke up. Even though I think these are rare, arguments still happen when there seem to be problems. Themes in near-death experiences are often the same. What makes them different are the places or people you see, especially when they are gods. This range of species shows that we are all accepting that we will all die one day as a species. So why do so many NDEs happen in places that are so very different from each other? It fits with the religious or cultural beliefs of people who have had the experience. Some doubters say they have seen gods or Jesus after having an NDE. Many religious people have had their beliefs changed after having an NDE. Many near-death experiences, NDEs, like my own Cs and OBs, have things in common, according to hundreds of reports of these events. However, you don't have to die to have one of these experiences. If you've seen my movies or joined this group of people looking for faith or the truth, you can see how dedicated I am to finding the truth. For many, life is a big feedback loop or mirror where the things we think and believe affect what we do and how we feel. This is reflected in the work of authors like Neville Goddard and Joe Dispenza, who write about the limitless possibilities of a quantum field. The spiritual side, which is also called heaven, the astral world, or the spirit world, is affected by what we believe and think. This makes sense to me as to why the places people talk about in their NDEs can be so different. As makers, we make things that fit with our ideas, which are formed by the thoughts we have while we are here on Earth. This is the heart of what makes NDEs alike and different. If someone wants to learn more about NDEs, I'll give them links to materials made by groups like IONS. Besides that, Both NDs and INDs are made up of letters. NDs has a lot of articles and information about near-death experiences, NDs, and they have also recorded a lot of them. A lot of people have had near-death experiences, NDs, and INDs has the most records of them. As far as I can remember, that's where Anita Morjani's story was first told. Of course, some people who see this movie might have doubts, but most people probably take what it says seriously. Skeptics look for problems or a lack of proof, and they often believe in myths that have been shown to be false, like the idea that it's just brain chemicals or a dead brain. If you were interested in this topic, you may have wanted to know what the differences were. Since you're watching this video, and others like it, it's likely that you were. That's what I think about it, friends. Since you believe in most near-death events, I'd like to know what you think about this. Some people may spread false information to get attention or make money off of books, but you may still be interested in the differences and what they mean. If you have any thoughts or experiences to share, please do so. This could be for a group looking for the truth, a spiritual awakening, or just some ideas. As you watched, you may have seen a split grow between those who refuse to change and those who see the need for change. We need to work toward a new world based on the golden rule, which says to love, be kind, live in peace, and love your neighbor as yourself. In a way, this is the main point of the movie. There is a big gap even among religious people, and many movies show bad things happening. Remember that the world we experience is based on what we believe. Let's stop thinking in harmful ways that could lead to the events that those prophecies say will happen. There will be big changes coming, and they will be hard, but they don't have to cause disaster or war. Sadly, it looks like disasters are the only time people change. I hope we can get past them. Still, emergencies do serve a purpose in that they make us aware of things. I hope for a good future. Anyone who hasn't read Melvin Benedict Thomas's work should. He has one of my favorite near-death experiences, NDEs. He was optimistic about the future of people, even though he saw problems coming. Even though he is no longer alive, his positivity is still a source of motivation. Okay, everyone, you can go now.